the Jets at Miami, we saw Zach Wilson come back and probably play the best game of his career. Do you think that there's some hope that he can do it back-to-back weeks?
That's AFC Player of the Week, Zach Wilson. I mean, yeah, you said it. It really did feel like the best game of his career. He went 27 of 36 for 301 yards and 2 touchdowns at a 75% completion rate. But what was more impressive for me was that he completed 76% of passes when under pressure. His average this year has been 40%. That's almost twice as many passes. And for a player of Zach Wilson's caliber, we just wouldn't expect that. And he said, well, what's the worst that can happen? I get benched again. And that's what you need Zach Wilson to be able to do. Stop overthinking things, play naturally, and do the 2 things that we want him to. Feed Garrett Wilson, who's had 10-plus targets in 7 games this year. He's behind only Keenan Allen and Michael Pittman in total targets. It was his second 100-yard game this year, first top 12 finish, overdue. Last week, we said Garrett Wilson would do better under Zach Wilson and the players he'd been playing with. And then Breece Hall. Breece Hall, who was the RB2 overall, 126 yards and a touchdown. He's averaging a 23% target share over the last 4. If he's getting volume, if Garrett Wilson's getting volume, I really don't care who's quarterback for the Jets as long as they're just sustaining drives a little bit more than they were doing. On the Miami side of things, you can feel the nerves creeping in. You can sense it among Miami fans. It's like, and I think part of it comes back to being in the AFC East. They've been there. They've seen the Patriots win for so long. They're teams that aren't used to winning or aren't used to making the playoffs consistently. And that game, the fashion that they lost that game on Monday night was horrendous. And things just don't look too smooth. Tyreek Hill, very banged up. He's been dealing with stuff for weeks now, and it just doesn't seem like that's going to get any better whilst they're still in contention this year. Jalen Waddle, he's had 1 game inside the top 20 in his last 5. The Jets aren't a team where you're suddenly looking at it and going, okay, well, that'll be a game to get him going, because they rank league best against wide receiver 2s in DVOA. Then you talk about Devon Achane. Okay, well, he's injured again, and he might not be able to play this week. This is, I mean, the Devon Achane book was completely accurate this year. An exciting player, a fast player, but one whose smaller frame was really going to be a problem for him in the NFL, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Raheem Mostert, though, he's been a top 8 running back in 2 of the last 3. I think that you look at the Jets, and obviously they are incredibly strong against the pass. They rank 3rd best in DVOA. On run defense, they rank 15th best. So if you're going to have success against them, it's probably going to be easier on the ground than through the air. I'd start Tyreek. I'd start Raheem Mostert. I think you probably have to start Jalen Waddle in some places, but with only 3 touchdowns all year and a really tricky matchup, I wouldn't blame anyone for benching him for a safer option.
Yeah, I'm genuinely fascinated as a Jets fan how the Jets are going to attack Tyreek. We talk about them having very good corners, but the small, quick guy is basically the kryptonite for the Jets secondary in terms of they are great, but Sauce Gardner is a big man with long arms who likes to get physical. DJ Reed is a guy that likes to get his hands on a defender, on a receiver. Tyreek Hill is not that player that you could do that to. So I'm fascinated to see how the Jets are going to do that. I think we're going to see a lot of probably 2 safety looks. We're going to see a lot of coverage shared in Tyreek's way. Maybe that opens things up on the ground. Maybe it doesn't. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is a low-scoring affair that is tight in the 4th quarter. And for me, that makes me nervous about paying up for some of these expensive options. Tyreek at 9,900 on DraftKings this week, that feels far too expensive for me to be plugging into lineups. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get anywhere near that. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously, you can go back and look at the last time these 2 teams played each other. It was only week 12. Tyreek did finish as the wide receiver 1 with 25.4 PPR points, 10 receptions for 104 yards and a touchdown. And you can say, okay, Tyreek Hill has shown that he can get there. But at 9,900 on DraftKings, that's definitely a little bit more expensive than I would like to play him. CMC is very expensive this week and in a better matchup, and that feels like where I would like to allocate that.